There are more than 5,000 homeless people in Maricopa County on any given day. Most of them are single men and women, but there are an estimated 250 families on the streets or in shelters. More than a decade ago, Maricopa County partnered with Phoenix, St. Vincent de Paul, Central Arizona Shelter Services, and Lodestar Day Resource Center to create this campus where people could find food, temporary housing, and services such as health care. At the same time, prosecutors and public defenders were contemplating their role in the homeless problem.
The concept of the homeless court was, let's turn it around. You have a homeless person who comes into a shelter, who is seeking to address their underlying issues, but they've got all these outstanding warrants, which is keeping them from leading a productive life, keeping them from getting a driver's license, all sorts of consequences.
Take individuals who have been in the system, out of the system, in the system. They have accumulated huge amounts of fines, and there's no way in the world these individuals are going to be able to even come close to paying it off. You've never really tackled the underlying issues of where they're at. Why are they behaving such a way? Is it substance abuse? Well, how else are you going to get there unless you really connect them to services?
Attorneys and judges talk about the cycle. People commit a nonviolent offense, don't pay the fine, and then don't show to court, which leads to a warrant and then jail.
And it's just a revolving cycle, back and forth. They're out in the street, they're back in jail. They're back in court, they're back in jail.
You combine that with the cost of just staff having to house the files, maintain the files, move the files around whenever there was any kind of activity on these cases. It's a tremendous amount of costs with no good results.
When we have all these malingering fines out there, it's like getting blood from a stone. People are homeless, they don't have a job, they are never, ever, ever going to be able to pay these fines.
The next matter is State of Arizona versus Monique Brady.
Phoenix, Tempe, and Glendale piloted the first Arizona homeless courts, hearing cases referred by outside providers. No victims and no felonies. The cases usually revolve around things such as driving on a suspended license, public intoxication, or trespassing.
My tickets were simply because I couldn't afford car insurance.
Irene Santiago's need to drive cascaded into more than $9,000 in fines across several cities.
I would lose my registration because I had no car insurance. But I was still a single mom. I had 2 kids to get to one school, 2 kids to get to another, and a baby to the sitter to be at work by 8. Eventually I ended up losing my job because I couldn't get to where I needed to go.
Santiago would tell you it has not been an easy road. People who participate in homeless court have to be referred by the provider, and then they have to go through a program, which can take months, even years.
Shira, do you want to give us an update on Amy? People are not getting a free pass. They have to do a lot of community service. They have to be actively involved in a program. It's the exit portal, and therefore, in order for that person to be able to take advantage of it, they have to be demonstrating that they're making sincere efforts to resolve their homelessness.
Recognizing homelessness as a regional problem, 2012 legislation brought all 48 limited jurisdiction courts in Maricopa County under the authority of presiding judge of the County Superior Court. This streamlined the process and allowed more people to seek a fresh start.
It really gives them something specific to work towards, and within a few days they get their license, and sometimes we've seen clients who haven't had their license in 15 years.
We give them credit for community service hours, and they were able to get their warrants quashed, qualify for driver's license, and those 2 things we found were the biggest hurdles for people finding employment.
It's an incredible positive reinforcement to say, all right, you've put a series of good choices together in a row here. Now, let's move this. If we could take care of this, how would this impact you?
Since that time, the courts have resolved more than 1,000 cases and grown from 13 to 37 providers with 68 programs. But seeing each of these people commit to their plan and then lift themselves up is the true measure of success.
Every time we have homeless court, there are tears and there are hugs and there's applause.
They've already gone through these programs where they have bettered their lives. They've received education on how to get jobs.
When you see these individuals in court and you understand where they were and where they're going, it's an exciting precedent for the judge and for everybody in that courtroom.
Low-risk offenders in the system benefit greatly by us treating them as human beings.
Now that I'm able to keep this job and I have a license, I'm already looking for a second job. I'm hoping to be a homeowner soon.